watch me on Pitmasters Food Network Monday nights.
Pull up a chair, we're cutting through the smoke, talking with the people every pitmaster knows. From Backyard Heroes to the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back to the Wise Guys BBQ Podcast, your gateway to barbecue information here in New England. Tonight's guest is one of the most recognized educators and entrepreneurs in backyard barbecue. She is the founder of Hey Grill Hey, a brand that has grown from recipe blog into a major barbecue platform. Hey, Susie, how you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, this is great.
Thanks for being here. I was just wondering, as we get into the show, I know our fans probably know already a lot about you, but if you just could take us briefly through the past of, how you got started and, maybe how accidentally barbecue chose you or you got into barbecue. That'd be great.
That feels accurate. Sometimes it does feel like barbecue chooses us a little bit. And I think that's kind of how it happened with me. I was working on other people's websites. I was kind of a back-end content creator, essentially. Before that was what it was called. It was a ghostwriter was my job, essentially. Mm-hmm. And I ended up with a job ghostwriting recipes for a website. But it wasn't just a normal website. It was a company that made wood-fired smokers.
Okay.
So I kind of said, I don't have a ton of barbecue experience. I grew up in a restaurant family, lots of cooking, lots of, I grew up in Utah, so Dutch oven cooking and campfire cooking and all of that, but no smokers, no traditional barbecue. And so when they dropped off this smoker on my porch, they said, this is great. Start from the beginning. We just need 5 recipes a week starting Monday. So I really jumped. That's all easy. They're like, here's kind of the spiral bound recipe book that comes with the grills. Just start with those ones while you figure out the basics, and then we can go from there. So we worked our way through the recipe book, digitized all of those, and then they kind of let me loose, cooking whatever I really wanted. And I think when I say that barbecue chose me, it wasn't just the job, right?
Yeah.
It was what happened in my life when I started cooking more. We became the house where people wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That's amazing how that happens. Huh?
Yeah, our kids' friends and their parents started showing up around 6 p.m. and we kind of developed an open door policy for dinners, and we still have that. This was, 14, 15 years ago, and our kids don't know anything different. They grew up knowing that if you're around, you're home around 6 o'clock, you're going to get something to eat. And barbecue became the vehicle that allowed me to be that place where people wanted to gather, and food was it was the thing that brought us together. So I do feel like barbecue chose me in a way because that's the house I always wanted to be. When I became a mom and had kids, my mom was that person. And I wanted to kind of continue that with my own kids. So that's really where barbecue started to mean something more to me than just a method of cooking. It was really a lifestyle that suited how I wanted to live and the type of person that I wanted to be. So it was really great to find that cooking method when my kids were still young and, always be that house where people started to gather.
Sure.
And every neighborhood has one of those. Somebody's house is where everybody hangs out at, right? And I agree.
Yep.
My house was that for our neighborhood, and it's just, it's a great thing. So you're in Utah. Yep. There is no barbecue. Where are you getting all your like when you first started out? Where are you getting all your product and your
influences and everything?
Yeah,
where did you learn?
Oh my gosh. So back then, I feel so ancient when I speak this way. Sometimes I feel like I'm like a barbecue grandma in like the content world. Yeah. But back then online, it was forums. That was kind of and AmazingRibs.com was around back then.
Oh, wow.
And there wasn't a lot of resources online. There were a couple of cookbooks, I think Stephen Reichlin had written a couple of great cookbooks at that point. The Barbecue Bible was out. Yeah. Aaron Franklin was just starting to pick up steam and publish his first cookbook. And so there was not a lot. And honestly, that's what encouraged me to start Hey Grill Hey back in 2015 was barbecue was not standardized in any sort of way that a beginner could jump in and start cooking, because recipes were handed down from family to family and techniques were written in like kind of a coded language that if you didn't speak the barbecue language, you were almost excluded. And it made it really difficult to start. And because I didn't have a family legacy teaching me how to cook this way, I kind of had to navigate the exclusivity and the vocabulary and figure it out on my own. So one of the first recipes I posted on Hey Grill Hey that really started to take off was my version of a sweet rub. And that's just like a classic barbecue rub: smoked paprika, brown sugar, salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder. And I'd been working on that recipe for like a year. Because again, nobody was sharing their secret rub recipes. So that's how you won competitions. That's how you, you know, nobody was sharing. There was one guy that had his available online and he was charging you for the recipe. You had to pay for the recipe for his secret rub. So it was
something
very
you never did,
hush.
right? Your recipes always have been free, right? And even
always
you're out today.
free, because I wanted more people to do what I was doing. I wanted more people to cook at home. So when I shared my sweet rub recipe, it took off. That was really my first viral recipe. And I think it was because so much was secretive and so much was not shared, that when you give people the gift of information and knowledge, it really opened a lot of doors, and it opened a lot of doors for Hey Grill Hey. And it reinforced to me pretty early on that there's space for this, and gatekeeping. It's time for the gatekeeping to go away a little bit and make it more accessible for sure.
And it definitely has. I mean, you look these days, you can get, you go on Amazon, you can get like 90 selections of rubs and sauces and everything. So it definitely has moved forward.
It's out of control almost.
So explain the Hey.
Guilty.
Yeah, it's you.
I'm contributing to the problem now.
Explain the Hey Grill Hey. Where'd that name come from?
My gosh, we were trying to figure out what to call it. I was driving back and forth with my husband. We were making a lot of road trips between northern Utah and southern Utah, where his family was. And I really wanted to start this brand. I really wanted to start this business. I thought there was a lot of space, not just for approachable barbecue and backyard barbecue and having more standardized recipes and education, like I said, but also as a woman in the barbecue space, there weren't a ton of us. And so I wanted the name to be a little bit fun. I wanted it to be reflective of how I felt about barbecue. It wasn't super serious. It wasn't a competition team. I didn't want to lean into a lot of the jokes at the time that were like rubbing butts and pulling meats. Because
bring your pork.
There's still a lot of that happening in barbecue, but back then there was a lot of that. So I didn't want to go that direction, but I still wanted to have fun with it. So we were kind of playing with variations on girls and grilling. And my friend Christy started her business at the same time. Within a couple weeks of each other, we started in the same month. Girls Can Grill launched hers. And we launched Hey Grill Hey, and it was meant to be a,
what's the other one? Is
girl,
it girl?
Hey.
Isn't there a girl meets grill?
Yeah. There's all sorts of them now. There's girl, girl gone grilling. There's 1,000 of them, which is the most amazing thing ever, because there was so few when I started. So now to see so many women-owned brands in the barbecue space, phenomenal.
So in your family, who influenced you? Who was the best cook, mom or dad?
Oh my gosh. Both.
Yeah.
My mom was the classic cook. She liked food that fed a lot of people. I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So my mom cooked for efficiency, but she could make a mean clam chowder and a mean tuna casserole and all those classics that you grew up on. And one thing that I love about my mom is she always set the table with like health, like not healthiness, but being mindful about what was included. So we always had a protein, we always had a starch, and then we always had a green and a yellow vegetable.
Nice.
And so she was really mindful of making sure that we were getting like proper nutrition. She was doing that forever ago. Now everybody's talking about it, but for her, that was a standard Sunday dinner.
And what did dad cook?
My dad was more the experimenter.
Okay.
He was willing to try new recipes. So my dad would come home and say, we're making tempura, and make a tempura batter and stir fry. Or I saw polenta with fried provolone and a marinara, and he would want to try a new recipe. My dad was baking beef ribs in the oven and salt crusting prime rib and doing a Chinese 5-spice pork loin on the grill. So they took turns and they bounced back and forth. My mom did a lot more of like the logistical cooking, and my dad did a lot more of the fun cooking. And I think I take a lot from both.
And how about your husband, Todd? Does he cook?
Yes, Todd is actually a phenomenal cook. I think a lot of it is like symbiosis at this point. Like he's watched so many videos and he's eaten so much.
Can't help it.
He can't help it. When it comes to barbecue, he is as good as, if not a better cook than I am on a handful of things. But he could cook. I mean, when we were dating, he would cook meals for me. So I knew I knew I had a keeper when we started.
There you go.
But yeah, he's a great cook. And every time I go out of town for like a work trip or something, the first thing he does is like go to the store, pick what he wants to cook that weekend and fire up the grill. He likes to say I monopolize the grill, so he doesn't get to cook as much when I'm home. So when I'm gone, he's doing ribs, he's doing ribeyes, like he's firing up the smoker and the grill the whole time.
Right.
Fantastic.
So you must have used internet and blogging to reflect social media to reflect back on your blog. Is that how your kind of first strategy was until you got into and then you just grew up into the craziness, right? Just kept going from there.
Yeah. I mean, initially it was just the website. I just wanted to share recipes and social media was kind of free advertising.
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity to share pictures, to share videos of the recipes and point people back to the website and send them there. And so that's initially how we built it, was just getting traffic to the website, getting people to sign up for our emails, sending recipes, and then there's display ads on the website. And that was kind of our first real revenue stream. And then we started to build from there. So we built the Grill Squad, which is our online kind of community and class-based platform. So if you want to take a barbecue class, but maybe you're new or intimidated, or you want a little bit more of a community instead of just a one and done barbecue class, then the Grill Squad is there.
How did you do that? Did you do that online or did you do that in person?
We built it all online. We filmed all the classes so you can watch them at your own pace. There's workbooks that go with it so you can take notes, and it's a really involved and educational based place, so that essentially if you're cooking your first brisket, you should be able to follow along with my Pitmaster class and have it turn out awesome on the first try.
That's fantastic. And so everybody like bounces things off each other in this group, and that's great. What a great idea. We do live videos in there every month. We do cooking challenges every month that are kind of themed, so everybody's cooking the same thing and sharing. It's a really great community. And then the products came later. So we have our barbecue seasonings and our sauces, and then last year we launched our Pitmaster gloves, which are an amazing. I saw those on your site. The yellow and black ones.
Yeah. So we launched those last year and they have just gone gangbusters. We really wanted to provide an actual solution to what we thought was a problem in barbecue, and that was grilling gloves. A lot of them are clunky or not waterproof. They don't have good grip, or you're just using disposable gloves that get trashed really quickly and you're going through them like crazy. So we actually created a solution and found a manufacturing partner and built these from the ground up, which is really exciting, using food safe nitrile and third-party lab testing for, food safety and heat resistance. And it's been really cool to bring a product to market like that. Because like you said, there are a million rubs and sauces everywhere. We all have our own flavor profiles and what we like. And so this was really fun, different project to actually try and solve a problem that I was experiencing in the barbecue space. And the response to them has been great. And then this year we launched our cookbook.
Yeah.
So
Great stuff. So, all right, you've gone on your website, you've started sharing your recipes. Was it just a steady, gradual climb, or was there a moment where you were like, okay, bang, we hit it, and everything just took off like a rocket?
I wish it was like that. I feel like anybody that's built their own businesses, you have months that are amazing or a year that's amazing. And then you have a year that kind of sucks and you try and lick your wounds and recover and build the next thing. So I would say it was more like this and then this and then this and then this and then this. And COVID was really interesting for a lot of people in the digital media space. Some people exploded, some people slowed down. And
how did you do?
We both at the same time. I think so many people were getting into barbecue that our traffic exploded, right?
Right.
So many more people were coming to the website, but at the same time, the economy was crazy and unpredictable. And when that happens, the first thing that goes in company portfolios is ad spend. And their marketing budgets. That's the first thing to disappear. And so we were getting more traffic than ever and less revenue than ever. It was absolutely wild. So we made it through COVID though. One thing that I'm really proud of is we didn't shrink our team at all. We just doubled down on what was working and we pivoted and we made it happen. So it's never been a straight line for us. We have had really magical moments. I mean, within the first year I was working with Food Network and Ballpark hot dogs and earned a Guinness World Record. And then the next year I almost quit. And then the year after that, my husband did quit, but he quit his full-time accounting job to come support me in the business. So we had a really good year the next year. And
I love that about your story, how you guys kind of traded off. He gave you his first job gave you a lot of space to kind of do your thing until it kind of teetered the other way. That's great. Yep. That's awesome.
And,
I'm sorry, but tell me about the Ballpark hot dog thing. Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's one of these Guinness freaks. He loves it.
Guinness World Record for what?
The longest grilling marathon. I grilled on a New York City street corner continuously for 37 hours and 35 minutes. Are you kidding me? It was live broadcast the whole time. It was crazy.
Yeah,
that is insane. And you would just pass out hot dogs to people?
We fed thousands of hot dogs to people on the streets of New York City and Manhattan. It was crazy.
That's a great story. That's amazing.
It was.
I love that.
And that was year one. I was like, it's only up from here. And then, year two, a lot less people called. And so I had to decide, are we sticking with this? Is this still anything, or is it just my mom reading it? So I'm really glad I didn't quit, but I almost did. I took a couple months off just to regroup and make sure this is still the direction I wanted to go. But like I said, it's never been a hockey stick for me. It's always been, fighting for every scrap, fighting for every bit of growth, and really pushing myself and pushing my team. And, I'm really proud of what we've built. I think even to just have a business that's now 11 years old, that I'm still 100% owner. I've built and grown this thing, and that's really it's really amazing. I'm really proud of us.
So while we're here and talking about this, do you have a standout mistake you made in the career, or something you could wish you never did or do over?
You can early say no. On, actually, not even early on. It's a continuous problem for me. There's a lot of stuff that we don't know. Yep. And I do not have a business degree. And so in trying to build this into a sustainable business that can support my family and support my employees' families and be sustainable and long-term, anytime something became hard, I think my biggest mistake was I would turn to somebody to save me or fix me. So I spent way too much money on consultancies and agencies trying to teach me what I didn't know. Mm-hmm. But essentially, I just ended up learning all those things anyway. Sometimes you just have to go through those growth periods and those pain periods.
Especially barbecue, right? I mean, barbecue is you've got to make those mistakes. You've got to overcook your brisket
it's all or whatever.
And that's the way you learn. That's how you get good at it and get your consistency.
Yeah. Great the only time I ever made a mistake was seeking out other people's opinions instead of trusting my own gut instincts and moving forward, for sure.
Perfect answer. I'll take that as a good answer. I'll never forget it. I don't know where I got it, and I think I'm remembering this correctly. But back when I started to learn to cook on a grill and, started before barbecue, just like grilling steaks and chicken and stuff, I think I got a PDF off your site that had all grill techniques, and it was Hey Grill Hey. And I was like, that's such a cool name. And it's and I knew nothing about you or the developers of the website or anything. I just thought it seemed like a good resource. And I kept it. I printed that piece of paper and I put it out, with my recipe rubs word stuff. And I kind of referred back to it when I wanted to do different things. It was so cool.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you for that, for sure.
Great website. It's a lot of stuff. And I actually bought a couple of your products. I'm going to ask you, what's this? I bought it, but I really didn't look into it. Is it beef sprinkles or beef?
Beefy sprinkles.
Beefy sprinkles. So, I just bought it for the name, but what's that all about?
So I have my core line of my barbecue seasonings and my sauces, and I want to make stuff that is really versatile. I want to make a beef rub that can work on a brisket or cheeseburgers. I want to make, we use it on eggs and vegetables too. So I'm really focused on the basics. I want staples. I want a reference point that you can come back to a million times over and over again. My husband, Todd, wants to have fun all of the time. And this is the perfect push and pull in our relationship, is because I think about the logistics and what's working and, all of these things. And he's like, yeah, but are you having a good time? Because barbecue should be fun, right? Yep. So he loves Texas style brisket. Yeah. He loves an offset smoked brisket. He wants it low and slow, crunchy bark. And my beef rub is amazing on brisket, but it has a smaller grind of black pepper. It has a couple other ingredients. He's like, I want a Texas style brisket rub. Yeah. Big crunchy pepper flakes, good amount of salt. And he played with a couple of things in there to really mimic a Texas style brisket experience because they use seasoned salt without the MSG or without the Lowry seasoned salt and a couple other things. So he came up with this rub with Brandon, who's in a lot of my YouTube videos and works here. And they came up with beefy sprinkles. So this is they just wanted to make a rub that they wanted for brisket. And I said, okay, fine. We'll put it up under Hey Grill Hey. We'll call it Beefy Sprinkles. It has its own mascot. It has sprinkles on the little jimmies all around on the label. Yep. And it is a delightfully fun product. It is a brisket rub primarily. So good on tri-tip. So good on ribeyes. Yeah. But that was Taste Test Todd's baby right there, is Beefy Sprinkles.
That's great. I knew I chose correctly.
So you chose correctly.
It must be, so it's doing well. It must be doing well for you guys.
It's doing great. We actually just dropped it as a limited release, but we have to keep ordering it.
Oh, wow. That's great. Yeah. So, I mean, you said you manage some of the logistics and the creation of this stuff, but Todd's your logistics guy now, right? He's running that whole back end industry of sauces and rubs.
He's laughing.
Well, he
comes out of the business world.
I don't want to sound like what Susie does isn't important, but he comes from the business world. He's a CPA. I mean, he has these talents, right?
Yeah. So when he initially left his corporate career, he did not work for the company. He came on and took over lead parent responsibilities so that I could go full time in the business. So he joined the school community council. He was volunteering at the library. He was running play dates with all the other stay-at-home moms on the group chats. So
that's great.
He took over lead parent and to this day is still better at keeping a house than I am, for sure. But yeah, when we decided to launch a product, he's like, I have some bandwidth, let me figure this out so you can focus on what goes in the bottle. I'll figure out how to get a bottle and a cap and somebody to mix it up and blend it. So he helped a ton with actual product creation and development because it just is so much work. So we have an actual COO now that helps us handle a lot of the operations and logistics, but Todd's still our CFO and making sure that, the books are still what they need to be and running. But even then we just hired a fractional CFO for the product side specifically because we're scaling now. And he's like, I don't want to be this locked into the business side of it. He likes having fun. He's like, I want to be more on the product development side, like beefy sprinkles. Let's come out with new products. Anytime we've launched t-shirts or hats, Todd's been behind all of that. And it's always because that's fun. That's the fun part of the job for him.
Right.
And so that's what he wants to do more of. So we're actually hiring people to replace Todd so that he can do what he does best. Everybody calls him Taste Test Todd on our channel. If you've ever watched one of our videos, he always comes in at the end to take a bite and nothing makes it onto the website unless it passes through his lips first. So that's where we wanted him to be spending his time because that's what he's the best at.
Yeah, I admire you for your development personally in this whole thing because from someone who worked with blogs and kind of did everything when there was nothing, right? You were clearing a path basically to someone now I watch some your informational podcasts and such. When you do things now, you do them in boatload buckets. You don't shoot a couple of YouTubes, you shoot 20.
Yeah.
And then, you do a lot of content creation in groups. And I think that's so smart because you get the efficiencies of it. And how do you like that? Is it still fun? Does it feel like a job? Are you still getting everything you want out of it?
Both all the time. I always say it's the best job I ever made up for myself because it is still work, right?
Of course.
Yep. Anytime you have to do something, even if you're the one that said you had to do it for yourself, sometimes I'm my own worst enemy because I'm like, we got to get this done. And the other me is like, but we shouldn't, we should nap. So there's always an inner conflict of who you are right now versus who you want to be. Right. And I think that point of tension will always exist. However, I do have the funnest job ever.
Sure.
And I have never to date gotten sick of barbecue. I've never gotten sick of cooking. Those long production days will always be my favorite. Recipe testing is my happy place. And when I'm outside cooking and trying new things and mixing flavors, that's where I really get to be creative. I really feel very free and tied into what I love to do. So there's the logistical side that has to happen to support the amazing, fun, free, creative side that really feeds me and feeds my soul. So awesome. It's always a tension between two, but I feel incredibly fortunate every day.
That's awesome. So here comes the book, Backyard BBQ Hero. And I know that's important to you because you kind of, you pinned everything on that first-time smoker who needed to fall in love with barbecue because I know. I'm working on this guy here, but once you do it, you're done. You're bit by the bug. You got to do it again. You got to do it better and bigger. And then, I'm going to say it like this: God forbid if you get a crowd in your backyard who wants some free food, because now you're doing it every other day. So that's great that you kept your roots with that Backyard Hero. I haven't read your book yet, but when did you release that? When was that written and distributed?
We just launched it in April, and I ended up self-publishing that book. It's a little bit of a funny story. So because of our platform, I've had literary agents and publishers reach out for several years saying, hey, we'd love to do a book together. We'd love to do a book together. Right. And anytime I pitched my point of view that was speaking more to the beginner, they weren't particularly interested. They wanted more complicated recipes. They wanted a very tight culinary point of view, whether that's through an ethnic lens or a technique lens. They want the whole book cooked on an offset smoker, and that's the only way to do it. And it just never resonated because I know that that's not who I write for. That's not who I'm speaking to, and that's not who I've really focused my career on. It's the first timer. It's the beginner. You picked up your first charcoal grill from a big box store and your first bag of briquettes, and you don't know what to do.
Right.
And like you said, that first time is really pivotal in my mind. And so I want to give people the tools to be successful. So I ended up turning down a deal with one of the largest publishing houses in the country because they didn't want to publish a book for beginners. They wanted me to change who I was speaking to. And I couldn't do it.
Yeah, good for you.
We self-published in April, and then I feel so lucky because Tastemade, who has their own channel, their own streaming service, their own production, reached out and said, we'd love for you to do a series, a video series speaking on the very same thing. And we called the series Backyard BBQ Hero. And that aired on Tastemade earlier this year. Last month. All 6 episodes are out on the Tastemade channel. They're rolling them out on their YouTube channel right now. And I just found out it's been licensed to Netflix. So all 6 episodes will be available to stream of Backyard BBQ Hero on Netflix starting August 3rd.
That's great.
That is so exciting. And
so I heard you have your own YouTube channel too. This is Hey Grill Hey is my own YouTube channel, but Backyard BBQ Hero is its own show. Okay.
And it's a 6-episode series, and it's all about those Backyard BBQ Hero moments and a meal, not just an individual recipe, but a meal.
Yeah.
And at the end of every episode, I get to sit down with my family and my neighbors and my friends, and we get to share a meal together. So it's really cool. And if you haven't seen it yet, you should go check it out. But it'll be streaming on Netflix starting on August 3rd, which is unbelievable.
Was that Backyard BBQ Hero? I feel like I know we kicked that around on our show early on to focus on Backyard BBQ Heroes on our show. But I feel like I've heard that on Netflix before. Was that like something else, or maybe it was just like a one-off, or like Pitmasters or something like that, a contest? I don't know. Does that ring a bell at all, or is just the first thing
not that I know of.
Not at the network level.
We've kind of been talking to, I have a product called the Backyard BBQ Hero Trio with my 3 top selling products that we've had online for years. At the end of our YouTube videos, starting I think in 2018, we started saying our goal is to help you make better barbecue, feed the people you love, and become a Backyard BBQ Hero. We actually have a pending patent for the Backyard BBQ Hero name with the U.S. Patent Office. So
nice.
I don't know if it's been around.
Maybe I was looking at your stuff all along and I just didn't know that. Yeah, that's totally possible.
But that's who we've always been trying to speak to is we want you to have that moment. We want you to have that moment where you put that food down in front of your family and friends and you feel transformed. Like you could do anything.
That's the heart and soul of barbecue though. It is, right? It's magical. Making everyone happy with your food. I love that. I love that about barbecue.
Yeah.
So what gets you the most excited about everything that you do? Is it the teaching? Is it the Backyard Hero? Is it network driven? I mean, I've got to think network. Creations I don't know. Are awesome.
There's so many things that are like exciting right now about what I do, right? Like a lot of shiny object syndrome of like, I don't even know what to talk about. There's so much to talk about right now. Right. But I think what still drives me truly is the person behind the screen. Mm-hmm. I get emails and messages and, DMs on social media from people that have used the products or used a recipe and cooked it, and it really meant something to them. When I get messages that, I cooked for my daughter's engagement party and I fed 60 people using your pork shoulder recipe, and I just needed to write you a note and let you know that there were no leftovers. People are asking me to cook the next one. Like those moments, we've had our products and our recipes at funerals and at weddings and at baby showers and bar mitzvahs. And I think that tie into life events for me and seeing it resonate with people when they share their Backyard BBQ Hero moment with me, that's like nothing touches that. It's the greatest feeling in the world.
Great feedback, right? That's awesome.
That is terrific. Yeah. And it still must have been pretty cool to cook barbecue next to Shaquille O'Neal, though. Right?
That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I don't want to lay claim to this either, but I'm making assumptions here. Okay. So I have a recipe for bacon wrapped maple glazed carrots. Oh. They're in my cookbook. I cooked them with Shaq years ago. They've gone viral online 1,000 times. And Henry Cavill, who played Superman, has been getting very into smoking. I don't know if you've seen his posts on social media, but he posted that he made bacon wrapped maple glazed carrots on Sunday. Yeah. And I was like, I don't know, Shaq liked them. Maybe you like them too, Superman. Yeah. I don't know. Those moments are always fun, but they're always like, I think Joe Rogan followed my Instagram page once. My kids thought that was hilarious. Yeah. John Cena tagged me one time. They thought that was like the greatest thing they'd ever seen. So like there's always those moments that are fun and funny. I think the kids in my neighborhood, we moved a couple of years ago. I had kids come and knock on my front door and they're like, "Are you the YouTuber? Can we see your play button?" And so I showed them my silver play button. And they thought that was, I had street cred with the neighborhood kids forever. So there are moments of it that are like a little bit surreal like that and a little bit fun. So I don't know. I just feel so lucky. Like I said, this is the craziest job anyone could ever make up for themselves. So I really do feel lucky every day.
Yeah, and it's great. And it's the only way to build a brand. And you're doing a terrific job. You and Todd, you guys are killing it. So that's awesome. What's the future for you guys? Like, what's your future focus? 5 years from now, what do you want to be telling me that you did great in the last 5 years?
I think it's focusing on what I've always focused on, but in a slightly different lens. So accessibility has always been huge for me. Can I make it easier for you? Yep. If you've never done this before, can I make it easier? Yeah. And one thing that we have seen that's working with people is the seasonings and sauces, not just because it's a brand name in your cabinet or like, look, I picked up the new whatever rub that you saw on social media, but was it easier for you to get out and cook something that week because you had it in your cabinet?
Yeah.
Was there a flavor profile you wanted to try and it encouraged you to get out there because you saw it on your shelf? Yep. So we're really focusing on expanding our product line so that more people can get them. So we're on Ace Hardware shelves nationwide, Academy Sports throughout the South, Shields throughout the North and the American Midwest. Fleet Farm is an amazing partner of ours in the Northeast. Mm-hmm. And we're also expanding into Home Depot this year. So all 2,000 Home Depot stores will have a rub and a sauce. And then we're also looking at grocery. So we're talking to Costco and Target and Walmart and Whole Foods and hoping that we can really expand the distribution and reach so that you have a different option on the store shelves when you're doing your grocery shopping from the actual barbecue community.
Right.
And not just like a bottle that's on a shelf, but a bottle that's on a shelf from somebody who lives it every day and who really understands the backyard cook and the home cook and wants to give you recipes and products that make it easier. So that's really where we're focusing on for the next year, is expanding the distribution of our product line and hopefully reaching more people in their own homes.
That's smart. We talked with Richard Fragola, and, Rich made the comment, which resonated with me. He said, you're not done when you sell those 2 cases to every Ace Hardware store. You need to continue to market your own brand until it gets into the home, so it gets off that shelf, so there's a reorder. Yep. And, Chip and I started talking all the time, and it seems like the person that's going to succeed at this is not making the best barbecue products, but making the best barbecue products that get inside the kitchen somehow, because, let's face it, there's only X amount of people that barbecue, but there are people that are cooking cauliflower and broccoli and all these other things every day for, like your mom did, and put on the table, If you can cross that product into the kitchen as well, there you go. Now you figured it out. You know what I mean? I think that's smart for sure. Great. Well, that's terrific. I mean, Chrissy, tell us, where can people find out more about you? What are your tags?
Susie.
We're
I said Chrissy. I'm sorry, Susie.
That's all right.
We've been watching Pitmaster. That's why we got you guys.
Yeah, that too. That's very exciting. We didn't even talk about Pitmasters.
Can we talk about it?
You can watch me on Pitmasters Food Network Monday nights.
Are we allowed to talk about it?
I didn't want to ask you about it because I was afraid you might not be able to talk about it.
Well, first 3 episodes are out. We made it through the first 3, so you got to keep watching Monday nights.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, the Taste Made show will be airing, Backyard BBQ Hero. You can find us on Netflix starting August 3rd. Our YouTube channel is at Hey Grill Hey, and then the website's Hey Grill Hey as well. And like I said, we have retail partners everywhere. Our books and our gloves you can find on my website or on Amazon. But yeah, I appreciate so much the ability to even talk about Hey Grill Hey and to come share with your guys' audience what we're all about. And if you ever have recipe questions, if you ever have barbecue questions, we're just like a DM away. We're on social media all the time. So we'd love to help people out and walk through those cooks and answer questions. It's the best.
I love the fact that, and you seem to, I don't, obviously your face isn't plastered all over your rubs or anything like that, but I like the fact that people can associate you with their rub, so there's plenty of content to see you and know where that stuff is coming from. I think it's more of a personal connection than some huge conglomerate putting out their barbecue sauce where you don't know what they put in it or how it was made,
or who's behind it. I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that a lot of like the names and faces on the grocery store shelves are just pretend characters. They're not even real people. And so it is really important to me that, like I said, Hey Grill Hey, I still own 100% of it, and I'm a certified woman-owned business, and there just are not a lot of us, especially on national grocery store shelves. I don't know of any right now. So it is important to me that you do get me and my face and who I am and what I care about is very much behind these products. So
awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. Making barbecue approachable for people. I think it's a huge necessity to getting people into barbecue, and obviously for you to be successful. So congratulations. Keep up the great work. Well done. Say hi to Todd for us, and
I will.
Thank you very much for being here tonight. I appreciate it.
I have an out of left field question for you.
Okay.
Which I usually pull one of these out of my hat. What's going on at Skinwalker Ranch?
Oh my gosh. Do you know, I'm an October birthday. Halloween is my favorite holiday. Paranormal everything. We have watched every episode. We have read the books about Skinwalker Ranch. And I have to tell you, I don't know, but I filmed. This is so off topic. I love this. This is my space. So I have filmed a lot of TV shows, and in the back end, you meet a lot of the camera crew, a lot of the audio crew, and being in Utah, there are a lot of people local. So I've worked with several people that were on set for a lot of the Skinwalker Ranch shows, and they were like, I don't know what I believe or don't believe, But I do know that many things happened out on that ranch that I cannot explain.
Some weird stuff going on.
There is some weird stuff going on out there.
Yeah, that's so funny. As soon as I saw you were from Utah, I was like, wow, I'm going to hit her with the Skinwalker Ranch question.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
We could start a whole other podcast about this. This is a very different topic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. Great stuff.
Susie, thank you so much for being here and good luck with it. Is Susie
a maid girl now?
Yeah, definitely a maid character.
All right, you're a maid woman now in the Wise Guys barbecue world. I don't know if you know about
just what you needed, right? Put that next to your
you're one
YouTube
of the ladies now. Yes. You're part of the crew.
Show that to the kids. Tell that to the kids who come by your house.
They'll love it. I'll let them know.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.
That was amazing. Susie Bulloch and Hey Grill Hey, her whole story. Just a fantastic show again.
A lot of fun, right?
Yeah,
she is entertaining. Man. And you guys can see her everywhere. You heard in the interview where you can catch
all
up with her.
All over the place.
She is super entertaining. Susie, thank you very much for doing that for us.
Check her out. What's she on? Pitmasters.
Exactly.
Check that out.
Yeah, HBO Max picked that up.
HBO Max picked it up. So I think they're 3 episodes in. Get on it. Good stuff. Hey, before we go, I'd be remiss not to give a shout out to the Rhode Island Barbecue Championships. And Matt Pereira put on a great show, a great contest. And our winner was Bill Purvis from Chicken Fried Steak, or what is it?
Chicken Fried Barbecue.
Chicken Fried Barbecue. I always want to say Chicken Fried Steak because I love that
He came up,
stuff.
he kicked butt, and he took home a ride to the Jack. He's going, baby.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and
fantastic
also
stuff.
Another wonderful thing is Barbecue on the Rails, El Jefe Smoke, RGC'd a 2-day event and is going to the Barbecue World Cup.
In Las Vegas, baby.
Congratulations, guys. Go New England. Keep kicking ass.
Adios.
Pull up a chair. We're cutting through the smoke. Talking with the people every pitmaster knows. From backyard heroes to the Hall of Fame. Everybody's welcome when they're earning their name. We talk the wood, the rub, the smoke, the flame. The old school legends and the rising names.